I've counseled people and taught people what other people have counseled and taught people, that our sexual identity is at the core of who we are. As I explained to him, as we spoke, I said, as much as I appreciate where you're trying to lead me, I'm going to make sure we're very clear here. And what I'm going to say is this. I absolutely believe that every single one of us has been broken in our sexual identity. And every single one of us need to understand that our sexual identity is the core of who we are. But that is not the same as saying our sexual orientation is the core of who we are. And he looked at me and he realized he was licked. He saw right then and there that we were not going to have the dance. That I wasn't going to defend or condemn anything for him that day. Because it's irrelevant. Because he's really trying to learn something, and he really came to me to learn it, and he walked away understanding something very profound. And I said, a wise person once said to me that if a human being steps back and looks at the way they make love, they'll realize the way they make love is the way they live. It's the way they approach everything. And they said the same can be true with the way you eat. The way you eat is the way you approach everything. And I've said that to my children. I said, I'm going to tell you, if you learn how to try every kind of new food that you come up against in your life, you will be a happier person when you get older. You will have more fun as you get older. And I also tell you, I go on a lot of blind dates, and if I see someone sitting across me at the table going, yeah, I don't like that, and I don't like, well, I know what kind of love they make, and I'm not going to marry them. So I think it's true. I think the way we approach one thing is usually how we approach everything. Now, I understand there's going to be, exceptions to that rule. But the point of saying this is that I could probably get a lot of people to agree with me that if you're comfortable in your sexuality, in your life, you're probably going to have more fun, a better, more enriching life experience, and especially love and romance experience, than someone who is miserable and afraid and in bondage. I think that would be a fair statement about anything, but since we're talking about a passage of Scripture that is used to make people feel condemned about their sexuality, we have to step back and go, how bad is the damage? How bad is the damage? Well, guess what? Walk down the street and ask anybody about Christians. What do you think about Christians? It's like Family Feud. What would the top answer be? Well, one of the top 3 answers is going to be something that sounds like all they do is talk about sex. And it's bad. All they do is condemn sex. And yeah, a lot of people are confusing the Protestants with the Catholics, but come on, man, the Protestants do it too. Protestants are just as bad now. Everything is rooted in this. Everything is rooted in this, and the problem is we are ignoring the reality. And everyone says from the pulpit, you need to stop ignoring the reality. The reality is that sex is everywhere, and girls are wearing their underwear out in public, and and the reality is God has a redemptive plan for every human being. The reality is God knew this was going to happen, and He's not in a panic in heaven. And if God really wanted to make damn sure that people didn't masturbate or use some kind of birth control, He might have mentioned it. He might have mentioned it. But I will tell you, it has been taught in churches more times than there are pages in the Bible. It has been taught in churches more times than there are chapters in the Bible. And it has been taught through believers in church or in homes or in life more times than there are sentences in the Bible. And why does it matter to know that? Well, I, for one, don't like to be brainwashed. I do not like to walk around believing anything that is not true, because some evil, insidious force wants me to believe a lie. And we love to tell people, if you don't know the Lord, you're in deception, you belong to Satan, and you're fed like, well, gosh, we belong to the Lord, and we belong to Satan, and we're being fed lies, and we're teaching them to our children and our loved ones and our churches, because that's easier than sitting down and opening up the Bible and saying to God, let's reason together. I know who you are. You're the God of redemption. You're the God of love. And this is about your plan to save mankind, not to condemn us. But I guess it takes actually knowing Him to even think to do such a thing, let alone know how to do it. But I guess knowing God will have to wait for another night. Thank you guys very much for being here. Thank you.